So what I'm basically trying to do here is to use that new technology to showcase the old technology. Because, you know, running an analog, old school, vintage recording studio, it's a niche, and it's very, very hard to survive, to be honest.
With many studios competing for work, standing out from the crowd can take some doing. Hamburg-based Clouds Hill Studios turned to VR technology, immersive audio and some innovative recording techniques to give potential customers a feel for their unique space. We talked to the studio owner, the production company and the 3D audio engineer to build a picture of how this complicated process was handled from start to finish.
My name is Johann Scheerer. I'm a record producer from Hamburg, Germany, and I'm running Clouds Hill Recordings for 12 years. Our main focus is analog recording. Clouds Hill is actually 2 recording studios and 2 recording rooms. Studio 1, this desk behind me, it's a Neve 8068 MK2 from the mid-70s. I learned that over the years that I have to say it, it's all in working condition. We have the entire top floor of this building. It's in the 4th floor overlooking the River Elbe here in Hamburg. And on the other side of this floor, there's our label and management company and our mastering company. So for artists, it's a very comfortable situation to record their record, talk to the label, talk to the mastering guy. So I'm trying to be able to provide every step needed in music production, from the first idea, the inspiration, till the finished record. I experienced that it is quite hard to convince people, for example, from America, to fly to Germany to record their records. And even if I have them on the phone and try to explain, well, it's a great studio with a great vibe, it turned out to be very difficult to explain a vibe over the phone. So I thought, how can I do this? And of course, I started like everyone. I took analog pictures of an analog studio, but I just felt it wasn't enough. And then I kind of stumbled upon the possibility of VR. And I met those guys from 747, and I introduced my idea of a VR tour through the studio. Every single room is wired up for recording. The bathroom is wired up, the entrance hall is wired up, obviously all the recording rooms are wired up. We even recorded stuff on the balcony or in the kitchen. And at some point I thought, well, why not go one step further and have different musicians in different rooms here in the studio, which is a normal situation actually. Like the drummers in one room, the piano players in the other room, the cello players in the bathroom, because it sounds unique. And they all play together, and we capture that with VR to show like all the possibilities of the studio.
747 Studios handled the production of the piece, coordinating the creation of video, audio and software aspects, which was a complex task.
With VR you have the chance to get the full brain of a human being and transport it somewhere else. Johann came to us and asked us, I have this wonderful studio, how can we show the world what it is really like and how does it feel? It was very obvious that VR is the right solution for this. You get the eyes moving into this location, you can turn around and you just feel inside. And the other big part, which makes the immersion so real and so deep, is about the ears. And this is one of the big challenges of this task, to generate a real natural feeling about this location and give a really inside feeling how the acoustics in the studio feel like. We had a lot of planning in terms of storytelling and the technical issues. So it took half a year to prepare everything for this shooting. In terms of sound, we had to deliver a good working 360-degree sound system working for anybody on the world.
For a project like this, you have to make a trade-off between bandwidth and then video audio quality. You have to use best compression available, which in this case I used FFmpeg, which is a very handy tool to make a good compression of your MP4 videos. We went for especially small video regions, so you don't have the full 360 video experience. You only have video regions. The rest is a static cube map, but you don't see especially the border between the video and the static map. The audio compression is very good. We have the sound is currently like 4 megabytes per room or something, and we do a lot of preloading up ahead as soon as possible to guarantee a flawless experience for the user.
While video production was handled by compositing video and still 360-degree images together, the audio aspect required the combination of multiple recording sessions and styles. Not only was a full stereo piece of music recorded and mixed in Clouds Hill, but a second set of takes was recorded a day later, at the same time as the solo performances were captured in video. Here the musicians played to the mixed recording from the previous day and were captured using a special surround mic setup.
The whole process of recording the VR session for me was extremely difficult to understand, because when I'm talking about a live session, it's live. I have just 5 musicians and then we go 1, 2, 3 and everyone plays together. What we did was on the first day we sound checked everything for a couple of hours and then we recorded the actual piece of music and I started to mix it. And on the second day when we did the shots in the different rooms, they had to play to the existing playback, and then we captured every room for itself. What you hear when you hear the room with just the drummer, you hear the drummer play in the room. That's what he's actually playing in the room. When it came to recording the actual VR sound in the room of the musicians, I totally had to trust Lars and his experience in setting up that crazy looking Schoeps microphone tree. In this case, it wasn't just about listening to music, it was about capturing a space. And I think Lars did a great job.
My name is Lars Ohlendorf. I'm a composer and sound designer from Hamburg. The microphone array, that was quite a tour. Well, I started with just the ambisonics approach. So I thought, well, great, we have it. Let's use something like the Sennheiser Ambio or the Tetra mic. They're basically the same approaches. But then I heard one and thought, that's not the thing that I'm looking for. And it can't be the thing Johann is looking for. So I remembered attending some lectures of Michael Williams. He played for the audience some incredible 3D recordings with his 3D microphone array. And I thought, well, let's do this. That's great. But, well, we have a film set situation. So I cannot honestly use a microphone rig which is like 3.5 meters in diameter and I guess 2 to 3 meters in height. Therefore, I needed a smaller system. I tried several setups, and at the end, this was quite the best system. Basically a cube with 1 meter side length, and on each point you have Schoep's MK21, which is a white cardioid pattern, which sounds beautiful and captures a great room sound. So in the recording situation, in close proximity to the instrument player, to the musician, the camera would be quite near this whole system, like here or here. But the more you get in the reverberant field, you can place camera and microphone like everywhere you want, because it's not so much about localization then, but much more on room characteristic. The thing I wanted to avoid on the film set was having a clumsy setup with laptop, microphone preamps and interfaces. And the best thing would be to just have a Sound Devices field recorder, which is capable of recording 8 microphones at a time. For the recording process, the musicians played 1 at a time. So else we had to have our setup like 5 times, which we did not have. I used the closed mic recordings from Johann for the production, for the 3D production as well. Just as a recording engineer in a classical setup would do, just like you have a main microphone and several spot microphones, and with this altogether you sculpt your sound, and it allowed us to sharpen the localization afterwards a little bit. When it came to the mixing process, from our 8 channels from the microphones, it was important to have as much options as possible. Therefore, I decided for mixing in ambisonics and not a channel-based system. And from ambisonics, I could go to classic channel-based or an ambisonic stream, which both could be used in modern web algorithm systems. In the end, we chose Howler because we could use compressed audio there. The problem with ambisonics is, I love ambisonics, it sounds great, especially with a higher order, but the problem is, as soon as you try to compress it with MP3, the whole 3D field gets completely messed up, and you have no localization, it's just blah. And therefore we used we chose a channel-based approach, which Howler could do best. We recorded height during the 3D audio recordings, and of course this is what 3D is quite about, the height information. But in the end, in the delivery, we didn't use it. We chose for a 7.0 format. And of course you may ask, why do you take the height information if you don't use it in the end? But it showed that there's a huge difference in the mix, because with all the diffusion you have in the height microphones, in the signals, you get a much nicer, smoother 3D field, even if it's just a 7.0. In the post-production and the mixing process, I used Crocus Reaper, just because of the bus architecture, which allows like 64 track buses, and which are necessary for ambisonics and higher order ambisonics. And for the panning and decoding, I used Blue Ripple tools.
Once Lars had mixed the 7.0 surround sessions for each room, the resulting audio files were fed into a custom JavaScript playback framework. which allowed the position of the viewer's head to affect how they hear the sound in each room.
The code of the project is based on freely available JavaScript frameworks. You can find them on GitHub. We have chosen the Howler JavaScript framework for this project because it allows us to place spatial sound in the room. The Howler framework that we are using maps the 7.0 surround sound to stereo, to your headphones, which is adjusting in real time to the head movement. The sound parameters that I'm controlling via code are basically just the positions of the sound sources. So we have center, left, right, surround right, back surround left, back surround right. We have a camera at the position of the listener. The camera rotates in your scene, and you give the camera rotation to the Howler listener in real time. So each frame on each update, the camera rotation is passed to the Howler listener. So the Howler listener knows the camera orientation and accordingly maps the sounds to the stereo and creates the illusion of full spatial surround sound. What I have received as data from our sound guy, Lars Ohlendorf from Elb Studios, are just mono-channel MP3 files for each position, one mono-channel MP3 which is placed. I have additionally compressed these MP3s to WebM container format, which is even like 60% the size of an MP3, but still offers great audio quality. To view this content in a browser, you basically need a JavaScript-enabled browser, which is pretty much the default setting of all big browsers. You don't have to install additional plugins. I'm fairly confident that you can view the desktop versions on even like 4 or 5 year old hardware, laptop or PC. And the mobile versions and mobile VR versions of the tour, which are currently work in progress, will run on like regular 1-2 year old smartphones in combination with VR goggles and headphones for the sound.
When I saw the first cut of the virtual experience of the studio, it was like when I had a day off and I met the guys at 747 and I put on the VR goggles and walked around this place where I'm working in for 12 years, and it really felt so real that I really thought, oh shit, I mean, it's my day off, and I originally wanted to be at home or in the park or on the beach or so, and now I'm in the studio again. And I took the goggles off and I'm like, oh shit, no, it's still a free week. But it actually felt really real, even for me, and I know every single detail here in the studio. That was quite impressive, actually. Every time a new technology comes up, there's this moment, this video kills the radio star moment, where people relying on the old technology are afraid that the new technology will just erase everything that has been there. But I think recording in stereo and listening in stereo, it's such a cool way to listen to music, and like everyone in the world enjoys it every day, almost everyone. And but there will definitely be like a new scene coming up dealing with VR recordings in terms maybe for classical live recordings or live recordings in general, but I don't think that it'll replace producing a rock record or a pop record that will stay in stereo and hopefully on tape.
If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and share it, and subscribe to the Sound on Sound YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.